As here we have to discuss one more common point about supervised and unsupervised applications. As supervised applications, all about the supervised application which we have listed, all are the common point, they have the predefined data set. Like wherever we are working on the input data, the data is already defined. Based on the data we have to write an application programming model, and we have to be execute, and we have to generate a predefined as inbuilt functions. So this kind of example models we have to take it as a supervised applications. Suppose the input data is there, I need to classify whether the mail is as a spam mail or not a inbox or a primary mail. So if you want to consider this kind of things, we have to use this example of supervised. And neural networks, most of the neural networks also they need some predefined data set which works on top of the particular data set only. So I am using supervised applications, and based on the content only we are labeling. So the data is available, I need to apply some of the programming models, some of the logic to whether it is a which kind of criteria. Suppose I have a content, fine. Suppose we have some collection of words, fine. Some of the websites are there. Suppose web 1, web 2, web 3, this kind of websites are there. I want to label, or I want to move into some particular column, particular category, whether it is a technical or non-technical, or it is a something like movies, fine, or it is a social network site. These kind of things, if you want to understand, if you want to be labeled, then we have to take a supervised application programming model. This kind of applications also, this kind of application is also a supervised applications. Here also we are taking decision, the system must be taking decision whether the web 1 is a something like social network or not, or technological site or not, or movie related or not. All these things we are not categorizing. We have to give a maturity to take a decision, and that mind of taking a concept to the machines. So this is also a concept of machine learning applications, and we are supervising with the predefined data set and predefined programming model. Fine. I hope you have understand a basic idea about the supervised applications. Then where I can use my unsupervised applications. My unsupervised applications means, suppose this is all about supervisor, right? If you want to define, if you want to work with the unsupervised applications, the best example is, suppose if you want to perform the clustering, okay, particularly if you want to perform in a hierarchical cluster, and something like some geomaps which may have a concept of self-organized of geomaps. And one of the popular cluster or technique, machine learning algorithm, that is k-means. This kind of algorithms and applications we can define as the unsupervised applications, which are most common, most critical to be handled as part of the Hadoop framework or in the part of data world. Why we have to take it out? These are the critical, and we have to take a higher decision kind of things. Means this all the data applications, we doesn't have a predefined data set. We don't have the predefined data set, so we have to be apply more concern to develop the algorithms. Fine. Most of the algorithms are maintain the phase of higher clustering. Means clustering means we are grouping. Sometimes we have to group it as a multiple groups. Let us take an example of this kind of fact. Suppose I have some data and we have some groups. Suppose we have a groups like this. Fine, but if you want to compare, if you want to load the data into my graph structure, or if you want to load in my data structure, we have to compare whether it is A. In the A, we have two groups, two clusters, whether I need to move into B or C, we need to take a decision. Again in B, we have a couple of things, again we have to take a decision. In E also, we have a couple of decisions. So we have to where I can keep my data. So where I can keep my data. So taking of these kind of decisions, in the particularly in the hierarchical clustering, or self-organized geomaps. The geomaps itself, it can take an action which will be organized in the independent manner. If you want to work with those kind of algorithms, those kind of applications, we can call it as some little bit of criticalness is there. So we have to build, we have to write effective machine learning algorithms by using Mahout, a specific case of the unsupervised algorithms. Fine. Along with this, supervised and unsupervised applications, major concern about our machine learning applications are, in general, where I can apply my machine learning applications, where I can apply machine learning applications. Suppose if you want to recommend any kind of activity, like your recommendations, or if you want to recommend any kind of products in the website, fine, let us take an Amazon. Amazon is recommending their products based on the user criteria, user mechanism or click mechanism. Suppose in the first time I logged into the Amazon website and I purchased about mobile phones. Okay, in mobile phones especially I am talking about Sony, and I compared Apple. So whenever I am talking about Apple 6s or some kind of thing, Sony mobile phones in the Amazon website, as I searched, I browsed the content, I just closed my browser, and after 6 months or kind of things, after immediately I open the browser, it starts recommending about what are the best phones are available in Sony and Apple, which is similar to the all Sony and Apple products. The hardware configurations or kind of things, any kind of things which will be taken out, it starts recommending this kind of mobiles are popular in the Sony. You would be like my recommendations. This kind of things we are going to apply in the most of the e-commerce websites in nowadays. Like most of the e-commerce websites and most of the websites are start recommending their own products. These particular recommendations, if you want to apply on the website, is not easy kind of stuff. We have to learn a lot of things, and we have to take in a input of a huge amount of index of records, and we have to take a decision whether it may be useful for the user or it may be useful for the client or kind of things. I cannot able to propose as a clothes or kind of things whether I search about Sony or Apple in the Amazon. Fine. Whether I am searching about the Sony, it should only recommend any kind of Sony related electronic good. It cannot recommend non-product category activities. Fine. Suppose I'm searching about the mobile phones. It cannot recommend which is related to the clothes, which is related to the grocery. What are the things I'm searching, based on that, what are the popular areas in there, and we have to recommend to the user. This kind of recommendations, particularly, we have to talk about the recommendations. And recommendations, if you go in detail, we have two things are there. User based item based. What is meant by user based and what is meant by item based? Suppose we have to consider some user ranges. Fine. Suppose the user is under the age of 8 years, and I cannot propose, I cannot recommend the products which is most commonly used for the world race people. Fine. So we have to recommend those kind of user areas itself. So most of the kids in the range of 18 to 15 kind of people in the age of 8 to 15, they are love the games. So we have to recommend the games. Suppose he is searching about any kind of books, textbooks. So we have to recommend more textbooks which is related to their criteria. Suppose he is searching about the mathematics textbook. So we have to recommend what are the best authors are available and best books are there in the mathematics, and we have to recommend to the particular user. And we cannot recommend the grocery products to the that particular user. Why? Means that what the kid we can do with the grocery products, he cannot be purchased. Or suppose the user is we recognized as a man. Okay, we recognize the user as men, so we have to recommend the products which is similar to the men utilities, men usages only. We cannot recommend the female groceries, female items to the men user. Yes, so we have to take a decision whether it will be suitable to the user or not. That is completely in the concept of user based recommendations. This recommending, it is not a simple job here. We have to take a lot of action, lot of wise mentality to take the concern about whether it is suitable to the user or not. Fine. Most of the people are working on, most of the websites are working on this user based. Yes, user based are there and item based, both the things are there. Suppose let us come to the item based, where I can search about the item based. Means some of the items we have to purchase. Suppose I am searching laptops. Whenever I am searching about laptop, I can recommend mouse, keypad, screen guards. These kind of things I can recommend it. So based on the action, based on the item which are similar to the sub items, I can be recommended based on the item based similarities or item based recommendations. So if you want to understand the recommendation algorithms, either the user based or item based, we have to write a programming model by utilizing the concepts of effective Mahout approach. And if you talk more in detail about these recommendations, especially means here we have seen lot of user based or item based or recommendations. Fine. Let us take we have seen an example also, like recommending a products in Amazon based on any items. Suppose we are purchasing about mobile phones, we start recommending the popular mobile phones, either the based on views or based on the clicks or based on the ratings or based on the popularity, these kind of things, or price, any kind of things, it start recommending based on your such criteria, and it will start moving on the recommendations. And even your Facebook is also recommending the people based on people you may know. These kind of things it is showing, right? For that also we are applying the same these kind of recommendations algorithm only. Yes, and it is recommending the pages in Facebook. It is recommending pages and recommending the people you may know, and like that it will show a heading and it will start recommending about the people, your friends of friends, what are the things they are maintaining in the user graphs, what the people who are maintaining as a sequence hierarchically, it will shows the people you may know kind of this kind of activities. So all these recommendations of users and kind of things will be maintained the phase of recommendation technique. You want to recommend a product or recommend a thing, entity by user based or item based, we have to apply a programming model which will be involves most of the machine learning algorithms, machine learning concepts. So most of the recommendations concepts also will need the help from most machine learning algorithms, and as point of things we can develop the Mahout, we can use the Mahout to design recommendation algorithms. So major concern about machine learning is to recommend the products or recommend the people based on some criteria. This is one of the variation of the machine learning algorithms. We have seen recommendations. Along with the recommendations, we have some of the algorithms which is related to the classification of data. What is meant by classification? Means as the classification we have to be classified based on some criteria. Suppose I am classifying a mail. I am classifying a mail as a primary or spam or any kind of action. This kind of classification involves a classification technique which may be helpful to the machine learning algorithms. Suppose we have some of the products are there, and if we want to be classify whether which product is assigned to the which classify, then we have to take it as a, that technique is also we have to consider as a classification. Fine. This kind of all activities, classification algorithm, classification is the R. We have one more thing, categorization. You see, which is both similar and which needs most of the critical machine learning algorithms. The thing is, the simple activity for categorizing itself, why we have to take the machine learning algorithms means, the major concern about if you want to be categorize the data, we have lot of variations and a lot of conditions, constraints are there in the real time as part of our need. And one more thing we have to be talk about is, we have to take a decision of this kind of data, whether must be in a genuine manner and accurate manner as part of huge amount of data. For this kind of things, it is not a small job. We have to take the help of machine learning algorithms. One of the machine learning algorithms is classification algorithms. We are already given the example of the classification where we can categorize the emails, where we can categorize the products based on the scenarios, all these things. Even your clustering techniques, which needs the grouping concept, where we can group the similar things, those kind of things also come under the machine learning applications only. If you want to group it based on some criteria, then we have to take the clustering concept, clustering algorithms, clustering machine learning algorithms, which will be helpful to be assign the proper clusters, proper groups. Fine. Suppose we have a data and we have to be grouped as a 3 individual or 4 individual manner. If you want to be divide this kind of entire data into 4 groups, so based on some criteria like similarity or something like dissimilarity or some kind area of any constraint, if you want to cluster means we need clustering techniques where we can apply complex machine learning technologies or applications. Fine. So these all are being necessary to work with the machine learning applications. If you want to be start recommending, if you want to be classify, if you want to be cluster, if you want to be supervised or unsupervised applications, if you want to design these kind of things, fine, these kind of things which is very similar to your machine learning algorithms. In a machine learning algorithms, in a simple manner, performant manner, reliable manner, which involves most of the distribution techniques, most of the machine learning algorithms, most of the improvements, all these things we are performing in a specific manner by utilizing the concept of Mahout. If you want to design machine learning algorithms in a simple and faster and performant model, performant and reliable fashion, we have to use the Mahout. I already given Mahout have a predefined framework which supports most of the algorithms where we can directly work with our data and start recommending and start clustering and start classifying. So it is very useful and in the real time as part of the project requirements and user requirements. Fine. This is all about machine learning applications and categorizations, the involvement of the Apache Mahout.